and then Wednesdays are science and tech, and then the Thursdays are art, culture, and tourism. Thursdays, that's how we do it. And today, we're privileged, really privileged, to have with us Mr. Michael Amankwa, who happens to be the mental catalyst and entrepreneur, climbed Mount Elbrus, tallest mountain in Europe. For me, it's where the conversation should start from. At elevation of more than 5,600, if you have a Ghanaian climbing it. Even Makati Hill, I'm not sure I've finished my...
Good morning.
Welcome to Zed Mountain. We'll come to the mental catalyst.
I've been an entrepreneur for probably almost 25 years. And a couple of years back, everything that could go wrong in my life, was going wrong. My businesses were not doing well. I was going south. I was in a romantic relationship that also headed south. And at one point, I was just lying in bed, and I found tears dripping down my cheeks. And I was like, what's life really about? At that point, I had to decide whether I wanted to fight or give up. And I said to myself that, you know what? I think there's more to life than, succumbing to life challenges. So I decided to start walking 1,000 steps a day.
Oh, wow.
And I started doing that, and I realized that, every morning at 5 a.m. I'll go and start walking. And I started realizing that I was feeling good doing it. And then I said, if I had done that, then let me do a human side to Pediasi with the elevation, challenge myself a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And then I did that. And I said, well, it looks like the highest mountain in West Africa is Mount Afaja. Okay. Which is in Volta region, Afaja too. So I said, well, let me go just hike it and see. My first attempt at it, I struggled. The guide I went with, I'm sure he was very worried because every step I took, my heart was pounding and I was almost out of breath and all of that.
Was it because you were not in a good shape?
Well, I thought I was because I'd already been walking.
You see,
so that's the difference, right? So when you're, hiking a mountain, it's totally different from when you're walking on a flat land or a small elevation like a human said. So then that gave me the realization that, well, I was not physically fit as I thought I was. So I had to intensify but I learned a lot through that experience of just walking and hiking and, getting to know my fitness level. So, but whilst I was doing that, I said to myself that, I think there's a lot of people out there just like me who are struggling in life. One moment you're up there, the next minute you're down and you're lost and you're dark. And as men, we don't share our emotions, our feelings.
Yeah, we are not supposed to.
But yeah, we are not culturally, and all of that. And a lot of people are struggling. So I said, then let me found, a club whereby I'm able to get people in there where primarily we take care of our physical health, our mental health, our spirituality, and emotions. So you come in there, you do your 10,000 steps a day, and then you read a book a month, right? So that's how that got started. So when I started, then people started joining the club. And I said, guys, watch me do something big, because I've realized that at the end of the day, success in life, happiness in life, it's a choice. So I'm going to summit the highest mountain in Africa. Watch me do it, okay? At that point, I didn't really know much about mountaineering and, all the things that, goes with it. But I had put it out there as a challenge for people to watch me do it with the aim to inspire them to also take on.
So you had no choice but to do it?
So I had no choice. So I took 10 months, to train for Kilimanjaro, which was in 2022, September 2022. 10 months. I did a Yemensa up and down for a week, but I did it 3 times every day. So I go all the way from the toll booth to Pediasi, come back down. That's one trip. I'll go and come back. So that took me about 7 hours a day. So I did that for 5 days. Then I took a week off to go live in Afaja, in the village, and then did it 5 times, 5 days. So every morning we go up, come down 3 times a day. I did that as well. Then I went to Kilimanjaro, and at that point, social media had, picked it up. My followers had picked it up. We said, no plan B, we have to summit it. So the vim was there, the energy was right, and people were watching.
You couldn't disappoint.
I couldn't disappoint, man. So I did my Chami route in Kilimanjaro, Tanzania, 7 days, 6 nights. And when I got to the summit, it was the most beautiful thing. It's like space. It's space. I mean, when you get to the summit, that's when the sun is rising. So you see the sun coming underneath the clouds. At that point, the clouds feel
beautiful.
No, it's beautiful. It's insane. I mean, look, my brother, it's like heaven. I've not been to heaven before, but it's just unique, And at that point, you're like, I'm on the tallest point in Africa. And mountains signify two things in my view, which is primarily opportunities and challenges. So if I can really reach that summit, what it means is that, look, whatever challenges I have in my life, I can overcome them, and whatever business opportunities that I pursue, I can equally succeed. So at that point, it all boils down to you defining what you want, putting in the preparatory work, and then giving it a go. And that's what I did to demonstrate to people. So when I did that, people got excited. So people now started walking and running and stuff like that. Not just in Ghana, across. I have people in the UK, US, Germany, different parts of Africa who are now beginning to. So that's how the mountaineering journey started. It was just a way to take care of myself, but now to inspire people.
Amazing. So from Kilimanjaro, then you started to do Russia.
So when I did Kilimanjaro in 2022, so I did that alone. So when I came back, I was like, okay, then what will be my next challenge? So what I decided to do was, I wanted to do something not just alone, but with a group of people. So at that point, I said, okay, why don't we cycle from Accra to Tamale and back to Accra? On a bicycle, not motorcycle, or bicycle. And, so I came, I got a couple of friends together, and then we decided to do that. So we cycled from Accra to Tamale and back in 9 days. And it was made up of seven, a team of seven.
Professional cyclists?
No.
Average guys?
Normal. We all started learning how to cycle. I mean, obviously, we knew how to cycle, but not properly. You understand? So we took 5 months off. Every morning at 5 a.m., we'll go to University of Ghana campus, and we'll be cycling. We did that for 5 months. So November 1st to November, I think 10th, thereabout, we started the journey. And we cycled all the way from here to Tamale and back. But we did it primarily for a good cause. To one, raise mental health awareness. Because at that point, what mental health is a big deal to me, and it's something that I always like to advocate for people to know that, look, no matter what challenges you have, you don't necessarily have to be naked on the street to be mentally challenged. You can be sitting in front of me right now, maybe financially challenged, you're in a certain situation that challenge is really getting to you. And you have, an episode of mental health challenge. It's just the degrees of it. But a lot of times, you were talking about customer service and all of that. A lot of times the people who are sitting there,
they are not smiling.
They are not smiling because the person has some heat somewhere that they are not in the right frame of mind. They are having episodes, you understand? And all of these are things that we need to talk about. So we did that, and it was huge. It was huge because for normal, everyday people, it was myself, an entrepreneur, a lady called Anita Solomon, who is a banker, works at DBG, Julius Richardson, who is a music teacher, Pius Hayford, who is an architect, Enoch Aglevo, who is a security guard, and then 2 professional cyclists who were our coaches. So and then we did that all the way to Tamale and back. And people thought it was impossible. Even the professional cyclists were saying this was a suicide mission. But I have always believed that, look, as human beings, we are limitless and highly, capable. We create our own artificial barriers and we limit ourselves. So we did, we call it a success in motion, meaning that, look, in life, you always have to be in motion. You have to keep going. No matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, you have to keep going. But you need to know where you're going as well, because you can be moving and moving in the wrong direction, right? So you need to know where you're going. So we did that, and that was successful. So right after that, at that point, now people were looking up to me and say, okay, Michael, what's the next thing? And for me, what brings me joy now is being able to inspire people, motivate people to really consider living. Today, I say that a lot of people are existing because, you have breath. So you wake up, you can move your body parts, you're just going through the routines and all of that. But we are not purposefully and thoughtfully living. And I wanted people to start realizing that, look, life is truly beautiful when you make that decision to really live life on your terms. So I said, okay. Then as at that point, I've already been exposed to what we call the 7 summits. The 7 summits is the 7 highest mountains on all the 7 continents. So you have, Africa, which is Kilimanjaro. Yeah. You have Europe, which is Mount Elbrus. So in Europe, you have Western Europe, and then you have Eastern Europe. So in Western Europe, you have Mont Blanc, where you have the Tour de Mont Blanc, which It's around France, Switzerland, and Italy.
Yeah.
Then you have what is in Russia. So the Russia one, Elbrus, is taller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's taller. But because of the media and all of that, we don't really hear of Russia and Elbrus more. But in terms of the continent, is the tallest or the highest. So then you have Mount Everest in Asia, which is in Nepal. You have Aconcagua, which is in Argentina. You have Cociosos, which is in Australia. Then you have one in Antarctica as well. So I said, look, you know what? I am going to summit all the 7 summits as a challenge.
Oh, you're kidding?
Well, that's what I intend to. God willing, I'll be able to do it. So,
you want to do Everest?
Yeah, I'm going to do Everest. Yes, I'm going to do Everest. So now I've done 2 now. You've done Africa, you've done Europe. Yes, we have Argentina coming up in February. That is close to 7,000 meters, and it's pretty high. I mean, it's tall. It takes about 3 weeks to do that. So that is going to be very challenging. Then
Elbrus is 5,000.
5,642. Mm-hmm. Kilimanjaro is 5,895.
Okay.
But the terrains are different. So even though Kilimanjaro is higher, Elbrus is more challenging because it's snow. You get it on Kilimanjaro. You don't really you get to see the glaciers at the point, and depending on where you go, you may get some little
snow here and there.
But it's not like Elbrus where it is completely capped with snow. And you're talking about and as Ghanaian living here, how often do you get to walk in the snow and all of that? So now, the equipment you use, the approach you use, and the methodologies and all of that is totally different from what you use when you are on, let's say, Kilimanjaro. Okay, so, and this challenges forces me to be in a certain zone. What it means is that at any point in time, I have to be physically fit. So it forces me to train and keep in shape on a daily basis. So as we speak, 5 a.m., I've already gone to do my morning exercise already, which I've done 10 kilometers of run already. I've already done that. I'm sitting in front of you as if nothing has happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this challenges forces me to always be in the zone, pursuing bigger goals. It doesn't allow me to have distractions. A lot of times when you don't have goals and your purpose is well defined, anything distracts you. But because of what I have and the intentions behind it, I'm laser focused, and that is what brings me joy.
Laser focus, and that's what brings him joy. Mr. Michael Amankwa, the mental catalyst and entrepreneur, who is done Elbrus, 5,642. He's going to do Argentina. Then would you do Antarctica? Why would you do Antarctica?
Antarctica is, what is it? It has a name.
Is it not too far?
It's very far. It's very challenging to even get there. At the end of the day, it's going to cost about $250,000 to do all of the 7 summits. Everest can cost you about $150,000 because you get what you pay for, and if you want to make sure you're getting the right guides, the right support systems, and all of that, it comes expensive. Antarctica is alone about $52,000. Denali, which is the highest mountain in North America, which is in America, it's about $13,000.
How are you funding these?
So a lot of them is personal, and some of them also, I guess, sponsorship. Friends contribute, and stuff like that. As I've started, awareness is being created. So now I'm getting folks reaching out and say, "Hey, Michael, would like to support what you're doing," because the motivation is just to wake people up. That guys, the sky is the limit.
You think we're sleeping?
Oh, massively. Oh, massively. I mean, we all sleep largely. Sometimes we wake up, but we go back to sleep. What we need to do is to continuously be awake and moving. So what we lack is the consistency. So at the end, let's say 31st December, New Year is coming, your New Year resolution, everybody, we all do it. Go 2 weeks, 3 weeks into January, and everybody has given up, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we are not consistent. A lot of people say, I'm going to take my physical health seriously, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do that. They pay for the gyms and all of those things, and then they quit. It's because we are not consistent. And what I find interesting is that when you don't have challenges that you are working towards, it's easy for you to quit or start making excuses. But because I personally, in my capacity, what I do as a mental catalyst, and sometimes people say, are you a motivational speaker? I'm not a motivational speaker. The difference is that I show you by me doing the things I talk about. So watch me do it, and I share the lessons and the challenges. So as I'm doing it, and I'm challenged, and I'm learning certain lessons, I'm also educating, entertaining my audience. So that's the difference. So I'm not just going to sit somewhere, read some books, watch some videos, and come and put some powerful words together, inspire you for a moment, and then leave you behind. No, I will carry you along and you watch. So I seek to educate, to entertain, and then to inspire. That is why I do the things I do the way I do them.
It's your experience as an entrepreneur. Does it have anything to do with this new direction?
Yes, I mean it's something that I'm happy that, because when I was asking about your audience and all of that, I was told that quite a number of them are corporate.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I'm more an innovator, right? And it requires me to constantly be thinking about solving serious problems. I don't like doing small things. I like solving world's problems, things that impact millions and millions of people. And to do that, you always want to be in a certain state of mind. And when I was younger, I mean, I'm 53 now. When I was a lot younger, I used to tell people that, look, I want to be a billionaire in dollars. So right from the beginning, I was always driven. I would sleep 2 to 3 hours a day. I was in 7 countries. I was in Asia, constantly just pursuing business, and all of that. Because when you're young, you have the energy. They go like a bulldozer, But when I look back at it now, I realized that, look, okay, there's a time for that, but there's a smarter way. The smarter way is, look, take care of your physical health and your mental health first. That is non-negotiable. The mistake we all make is that we start pursuing wealth and the material things, thinking that, when you have that, you have arrived. That is the mistake. And I did it, and I know a lot of people who have done it and people who continue to do it. But I said to myself, Michael, flip the script. Take care of your mental health and your physical health. And when you do that, now you are ready and prepared and to take on the bigger challenges. Because every morning when I get out there to go and work out, and I do it with my team, a couple of friends here, and then we go out there. That morning in Legon, Legon is all like you have trees.
Exactly.
The air is fresh. You're hearing the crickets, chirp, the birds chirp, the frogs croak. You're here. You're in nature. And sometimes you see beautiful, petals of flowers on the ground, sometimes the dew and all of that. And every morning when you're going through that emotion. So every morning, either we are cycling, or we are running, or we are swimming. You get to be in nature. But then whilst you're walking or running or cycling, you are thinking. And at the same time, I personally will be listening to some gospel music. So at that point, Charlie, I'm doing my quiet time with my maker. I'm having doing my contractings with him and all of that. Then I'm thinking about, okay, Charlie, what is my plan for today? What ideas do I have? What problems do I have to solve and all of that? So by the time I'm done, my day is already sorted in my mind. So at that point, I don't have stress, because what causes stress is the unknown. We don't know. We are not prepared. And that is what, causes us to be stressed. But that early morning, by the time I'm done, an hour and a half to whatever it is, I'm already sorted, feeling good, like solid, because you sweat. You sweat. So when you sweat, Charlie, you just know, you feel it, and you feel like your heart is pounding. You feel sometimes you feel a little bit tired, but the more you do, it gets to a point where you don't really feel the fatigue. You just enjoy what you're doing. But this is where it gets really, really powerful for me. When you take a rocket that's moving from Earth to space, let's say Elon Musk trying to move, Mars, the rockets and all of that, the rocket uses the most power and fuel on takeoff. Why? Because that's when it needs to fight the gravitational forces. Okay, before it crosses and gets into the atmosphere, where it's lighter and it doesn't. And as human beings, your early morning is the most important part of your day. And that is when you have to use the most energy to prepare for it.
Wow.
So that's what we call the boost phase. So 5 a.m., and there's a good book titled The 5 a.m. Club, which I recommend people to read. So 5 a.m. is when, Charlie, get out there and do your 1 hour. Non-negotiable. And that is when your day gets set. But a lot of times, that time, Charlie, people are still sleeping. Then you wake up and you just quickly brush your teeth, get, bath and get in your car and you rush to work. And you are not even together. So when you get to work, you're not even ready to take on, to be as productive as you can be. But this is what happens. And every morning, when you're doing, what I'm talking about, you start realizing that because of the consistency of your thoughts, your ideas become better.
Okay.
Are you getting how it works? And then that habit that you are forming through consistently training, now you can now transfer it to other aspects of your life. So even in our relationships as men, the biggest problem we have is that we are not consistent in love. We love the woman, but we are not consistent in love, right? 1 minute, Charlie, we are doing the nice thing. The next minute, we are walking our heads, behaving as if we are some monsters, right?
But it's hard.
That's hard. That is why you have to be consistent. But here's what makes it even more rewarding. You cannot climb mountains when you are not patient. So when you are walking on mountains, you don't walk your normal pace. You walk extremely slow. In Swahili, it's called pole pole.
Oh, rather.
Very, very slow. Yes, because you have to conserve your energy. You have to know where to step, how to step, and all of that. It's very crucial. So when you're, and people ask me, why Ghanaian, black man? This is people asking me, are you sure you're a Ghanaian? Because you are doing things that Ghanaians or black people normally don't really do. But here's the thing. When you're climbing mountains, there's so many things you learn. You learn about perseverance. You learn about patience. You learn about strategy. So when you talk about corporate and all of those things, the KPMG, I think the wing the UK, every year they take their upper management, and then send them to Kilimanjaro to just go and hike. There's no way you can go and hike a mountain like Kilimanjaro and come back and be ordinary. You can't. Because there's so many things you learn that you can never learn in books. So when you learn patience, because when you're doing that, you're going to be patient, right? Now, when you come back in your own personal relationships like marriage or even work, as leaders, we need to be patient. We need to be compassionate. We need to leverage empathy and emotional intelligence. But at the core of that lies what? Patience. You understand? So right now, most people describe me as Michael. I'm always chill. I'm always calm because I've mastered it. Because I know that, Charlie, if I'm not chill, I can't deal. So you need to have that calm mind. So the exercise, the benefits of you exercising through the consistency and all of those things, now you can transfer it to different aspects of your life. Even church, going to church on Sundays. Sometimes, Charlie, as guys, we go, then we no go, and then we go, then we no go. But you need to consistently, make sure that your spirituality, you don't necessarily have to be going to church to, have a good spiritual life, but you need consistency in your spirituality. So if you're a person of faith and going to church and worshiping with others is also critical, then you want to make sure that you're also consistent there. So now you start realizing that now you have a toolkit or reservoir of skills, habits, and the way to do things that now you can leverage them in so many different aspects of your life.
Exactly. I mean, that for me is a key point you just made. That what you learn from this then becomes something you leverage elsewhere. So it's not as if you're going to church for, but you're acquiring something, and that thing becomes that consistency in your life. Exactly. So when you have to do business, the consistency is there.
It's there.
Mr. Kweku Youngson, a very good morning to you wherever you are. Wish you the very best of the day. I know it's 25 minutes to the top of the hour. That means we have just 20 minutes to go. The conversation is getting interesting by the minute. And also, we're learning. Some of the things I've written out. You know me, I do a lot of writing, and I'm learning so much. So, now, from rock bottom, you've gone to the very highest. From rock bottom, lying down, with tears streaming down your face. Now you've climbed the highest. What are some of the biggest obstacles you faced during the climbs, and how did you overcome them?
So let me look at Kilimanjaro. I think there are two key big ones. One is, I'm the only child of my parents, and my parents are not happy with, this my new adventurous life. Yeah. And my dad, does much, so it's not too expressive. Just I bless you, just be careful. But my mom is always emotional about it. So the summit night is where now you're actually now tackling the mountain to get to the very top. And that one you start at midnight. So at midnight we walk for about 7 hours at night with headlamps. You don't know where it's like you're walking just endlessly. You're just going. So the night before we're about to, at midnight, before we're about to start, I get a WhatsApp, from my mother. My mother leaves me a very emotional WhatsApp begging me to not do it. Just stop. And I love my mother to the moon and back. And I'm like, Mom, Charlie, this is where you catch. Where I catch there, I can't stop. And the number of people on social media say, Charlie, no plan B, we go conquer, and all of that was there, So on an emotional level, that was the hardest. But the other most difficult thing was, after I was done with Kilimanjaro, what people don't know is that the most dangerous thing about mountaineering or climbing mountain is not the going, but it's the coming down. Because you spend your energy going up. Okay. But now the descent. Now the reason why they make you climb the thing at night is that if you see during the daytime, it's like walking to heaven. There's no way you can go. Oh, okay. But at night, you can't see where you're going. You understand? But the moment you are done, now you have to descend. And that is the hardest part. The descent. At that point, you've already used your energy, the motivation that you had, the vim that you had. You've already reached the summit. But what else? By now is the coming back.
If you're not careful.
And that's where a lot of people die, on the descent. Because at that point, while you're weak, your legs are, and all of that, mentally you're not there. And the mountaineering, climbing these things, it's primarily mental. It's primarily because physically, a lot of times you can override your fatigue and all of that, but it's mental, where you want, because a lot of people quit. Because then you're like, nobody's paying me to do this. Why am I doing it and all of that? The different voices are hitting you. So, but then at that point, it's you against the world and the elements. So that's where the personal development comes in. You want to know who you are. So when I'm doing these mountaineering things, I'm like, who am I? How far can I go?
Because you're discovering yourself.
Yes, you're discovering yourself. So in life, it's about personal discovery, development, and self-mastery. These are the three things that you want to know. At any point, you need to know who you are. And the only way to know who you are is when you intentionally pursue it. A lot of us don't do that. We don't know who we are. We think we do, but significantly, we don't know who we are because we have not deliberately gone searching for who we are. You understand?
Amazing.
Are you getting what's happening? So now when I descended on Kilimanjaro, I got to my hotel room and I realized that I was struggling to breathe. So I had kidney infection, lung infection. So I think I caught a bacteria. So now even just breathing was a challenge. When I lie on my side, it was a challenge, So at that point, I was like, let me hurry and come to Ghana and get myself checked. So that was the most difficult thing that I experienced when I did Kilimanjaro. But then when I went to Elbrus, in Russia, the summit night when we were climbing, we started at 3 a.m. I was having this pounding headache, then fever. And I was like, this is not normal. But physically, I knew I was okay because, I had, the 2 weeks before, I had gone to do Afajato 10 times. Go up and down, go up and down, up and down 10 times. It took me 10 hours to do that, right? So I knew that physically I was there. But then now, the headache and the fever. And now the terrain was also different. And you're wearing what we call the crampons. Crampons are like the spikes that you wear under your boots.
Okay.
The boots you're wearing are special boots, very heavy because of the cold and the snow and all of that, because you can get frostbite and then you have issues. And now this mountain, when you're climbing it, it's so narrow. There are parts where it's so narrow that a wrong step to the left or right, you are going down. And when you go down, that's your end.
Of course. So
in climbing it, I realized that, and the beautiful thing about Elbrus region is that it's so beautiful, the nature. It's an environment where you have so many mountains, and then you also have beautiful vegetation.
Okay.
You understand? And the view is stunning. It's like stunning. So I was like, okay, I wanted to enjoy the view. But I also realized that the way I was feeling, the fever and the headache, I had to abandon the view. I had to focus on my step, because any wrong step, I'll be done. And there's a key lesson there. In life, you always need to know, at certain times, you just need to know the one thing that you need to focus on that takes you to the next step. A lot of times, because we don't know, we are so focused on so many different things, and we are far-stretched, and we are not optimally successful. So at that point, and this is why I was talking about the lessons you learn when you put yourself out there in nature and you're challenging yourself. Because at that point now, I had to leverage strategy. Okay. I had to devise a strategy that, Michael, at this point, the most important thing now is what? Abandon everything else. Just concentrate on your one step in front, a step in front of the other, foot in front of the other. At that point, like that. And you can see the summit, and it's far. And your mind is telling you that, Charlie, this one there, why, that. And you're seeing other people quit and they're returning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's hard. And the wind is also like, it's coming in and it's piercing cold and you are shivering a little bit here and there. So no, it's like you're being challenged across board, and then your mind is telling, but you're like, what? Your eye is locked in on the goal. You're like, I'm going to get to it. So when we finished and we came back, and then from there we went to Moscow 2 days, and then we came back to Accra. But when we came back to Accra, I realized that at night my fever was severe. I'll break out a severe fever. Then I started coughing heavily. So then I went to the hospital and they said, Charlie, I'd gotten a bacterial infection, because at the elements and those heights, a lot of times you catch.
Yeah.
So, but when I was doing Elbrus at the top and I was walking, I knew Elbrus was done in my mind, but then I was realizing how difficult Everest will be. How challenging, how dangerous it will be, But this is what happens, to us a lot of times. We defeat ourselves before we even consider the thing that we want to do.
Oh, okay.
You see? Because the mere mention of Everest, people say, oh, no,
I was worried.
Yes, but here's the thing. Other human beings have done it and continue to do it. But the more you start working towards it, your strategy, your plan will inform you as to, look, how do you succeed? So whilst I was I was on Elbrus finishing, getting to the summit, I was not thinking about Elbrus. I was thinking about the last, most difficult, challenging bit, which is Elbrus. You see how the thing works?
Oh, wow.
So now when you put, and I also tell people that, look, here's the other thing about life. In life, as human beings, life challenges are going to come at us. The tsunamis and the storms are going to come at us where we don't have control. And when they come, a lot of times, we fumble and then we crumble and then we fall. But when you create your own natural challenges and you go through them, you're building a character. You're becoming resilient. You're becoming stronger in so many ways that when life now decides to surprise you, you're like,
is that the best you got?
Is that the best you got? Try me. You don't say, why me? You say, try me.
Okay.
Because you understand. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful things I have learned from this experience of constantly challenging myself. Do you get it? Because the more you challenge yourself, the more you are going to learn through that experience. And through that experience, you're also going to fail. Today, a lot of us are scared of failure. I embrace failure. I love it when I fail. Because in that process of failing, I learn. And failure is fatal when you quit.
Okay.
When you quit, when you
learn.
When you learn, you continue. You adapt. Then you continue and you go. Because so there are times when on the mountain, you make a move and you realize that, no, this move that you have made, it's not going to take you to where you have to go. So you have to come back and then use a different route. So in life, sometimes you can, it's okay to come back.
It's okay
to come back and then regroup and then move forward.
That's a powerful lesson. It's okay to come back.
It's okay to come back.
We fear failure so much that
yes.
No, but people laugh at you. You came back? Seriously? Why? So because of that, we will go the wrong way.
Yes, you continue or you don't even go at all.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that holds us back. There are two key things that holds us back as human beings. Laziness and fear.
Okay.
That is why a lot of us like to be comfortable. We will not try new things because we are afraid of failure.
Wow.
Okay, and then we are also lazy. But I am a living testimony of it. I have friends who have died. I had a friend who had $9 million to pick up in receivable. My brother did not even see the money and he died. We sit here, we think tomorrow is promised. It's not promised. So every moment you have, make the most of it. Make the most of every moment you have. And continuously seek what self-development. I always tell guys that, look, reading, we don't read. When you don't read, you're not in the game of life.
When you don't read, you're not in the game
You're not in the game of life because the knowledge that you got from school is dead and gone. It's dead and gone. So you have to be intentional about knowledge acquisition. And when you do that, you become imaginative. So the guys who are ruling the world are people who are imaginative. What is Elon Musk doing? He's imaginative. All the guys who rule the world are imaginative. And what they also do is that they spend time in knowledge acquisition. So one of the things I do personally is every day I do 200 minutes of reading. My yearly target for reading is 52 books. Today I'm reading a book titled Super Communicators. Super Communicators.
So I'm not weird because I read a lot.
You are not. That's the smart thing to do. That is the smartest thing to do is to read like you're crazy. Get off social media and all of those things. Dedicate your time. So every day you need to plan it. Your physical health, your mental health. Your mental health comes with you know how you're feeling and all of that, and then the knowledge acquisition. Then your spirituality and your emotions. We ignore our emotions. At any point in time, I ask myself, how am I feeling? So at any point in time, I know how I'm feeling. So when I'm feeling anxious, I'm unhappy, I'm sad, I am whatever it is, I know how I'm feeling. So it informs how I deal with you. You get me? So like last week, my daughter who goes to school in the UK needed some money, and she had asked for it a couple of weeks back, and I hadn't sent the money to her. And then she sent me a text message, and the text message sounded like she felt she was entitled. Like, Daddy, you're supposed to give me this money.
Yeah.
And at that point, when the text came, I was not in the good mood because I was expecting some money from some business somewhere that I think had not come. So I was already frustrated. When I saw the text, I was going to reply to her, in anger. But then I remembered that, look, Michael, leverage, empathy, and emotional intelligence. So I didn't reply. I just said, okay, I'll get back to you. So after I got the money to her a couple of days afterwards, then I sent her a text. I said, sweetheart, I love you so much. But this text that you sent, you could have said it this way. I said, Daddy, I really need it. These are the reasons why I really need it. These are the implications if I don't get it. So please, I know you always do your best. May you please try, And then when I sent her the message in love, She received it positively and also replied and said, Daddy, thank you so much, and I love you. And today when I was running and I was thinking about it, I was like, this is a message I want to share. We need to be what? Patient, compassionate, empathetic, and leverage emotional intelligence. And to do that, at the core of it is you knowing how you feel and how the other person may. So let's say you are, even if your own spouse, you could go home and, Charlie, you had a terrible day. Yeah. And your spouse can just say one thing innocently and trigger. And a lot of times we burn bridges because of we are not in tune with our emotions to know how to interact and do with people. And then if somebody hits back at me, and a lot of times I'll smile because I'm trying to understand where is the person coming from. I'm not looking at whether I am right. No, it's not about me being right. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. So that way I can manage the situation better for us to have an opportunity to continue our friendship.
You don't get angry in traffic. No.
Because the moment I allow you to make me angry, that means you've defined me. That means you own me. So you can't make me angry. No. It's impossible. Me and you, I will not mind you. No. If it is, I'll tell you, Charlie, look, it's okay. Let's talk later. Wow. Let's cool off, and then we come back. And here's the thing. If you have and I use the spouse and all of that because a lot of guys have heat from those areas. If you're not having your spouse or your partner or your companion or whatever it is, you're not talking. Even if you're not talking, it's cold war. Just say, let's go for a walk. Don't talk. Just go for a walk together. Don't talk. She can be behind you, can be in front of whatever. Don't talk. You come back, you realize that the cold war you're having, there's no need for it. Don't talk.
Amazing.
Are you getting me? So these are all little things that you learn. And one of the things I want to leave your audience with is, guys, when you start living a life of purpose, life is beautiful. I dreamt of being a billionaire in dollars. What I have discovered, the life that I live today, is worth more than all the money in the world. When you go to bed,
a life of purpose.
A life of purpose. Because, for example, if a plane is going to London, it doesn't have a flight plan. The plane takes off, it to go on to run out of fuel and crash. And that's how most of us live our lives. There is no plan. There's no purpose. There's no goal. There's no objective. You need to know your purpose and the meaning of that purpose. So as a mental catalyst, I've dedicated the rest of my natural life to helping people transform their mindset for personal growth and for them to live their lives to their full potential. That is why I will come and then have the conversations that we're having, because I know somebody listening out that's going to say, you know what, it's about time I own my life and design the life that you want. You may not get it instantly, but design it. You desire it, then you design it, then you work towards it. And look, I am a living testimony, and it works. When you find yourself in that realm, it's not about money anymore. It's not about material things. Because the houses that we are pursuing, how many are you going to sleep in? The cars we are talking about, how many cars are you going to drive? Our footballer, Prince Kevin Boateng, said, look, one day he decided to go and buy 3 cars. Just in a go, thinking that would make him feel good. After a week, he realized that he was not feeling any better. You understand? So a lot of times we think that the material, those things have their place. But let's be smart. Let's make our health the priority. Because if you are sick in bed or in the hospital, Charlie, what use is the money? Today, a lot of the young ones are dying. Gone too soon, painful exit,
What a shock.
What a shock. It's hypertension, diabetes. Because we don't appreciate life for us to be mindful. And another key word is mindfulness. At any point in time, you need to be mindful, you need to be conscious. A lot of us just go through life like zombies, like robots. Every day, boom, boom, boom. The same routine. By the time you realize 5 years is gone, a decade is gone. And you don't understand why you are still where you are and you've not advanced in life. And you think it's your house people who are doing you or your village people who are doing you. It's the choices you make. So you have to be intentional about life. You have to be intentional. If you want to be lazy, you won't get far. But here's the thing about success. Action defeats fear.
Action defeats fear.
Action defeats fear. Take that.
Whatever you are afraid of, begin to take action towards
it. Begin to take action towards it.
And the fear dissipates.
You realize that fear cries no fear. It's nothing. It's an illusion. As we sit here right now, myself and a couple of my friends, we are training for the Ironman Challenge. Ironman Challenge is a triathlon. You swim in the open ocean, in the sea.
You
cycle and you run. And I've never been an athlete. I'm not a physical type of a person. But as we speak now, 2025, we are going to go to Italy to go and do Ironman. So right now, every day, Charlie, we are all training to go and do it. Now, here's the fear. When I was young, my mother would say, Charlie, don't play with the CEO. You're my only child. Don't do this, don't do this. Now, I'm learning how to swim. University of Ghana swimming pool. I'm learning how to swim. Is it easy? Of course not. It's difficult. But every day I go. And the more I go, the more I realize that I'm getting better and better. And I can see myself swimming in the ocean. But it's happened because what? Action is taking away that fear.
Doesn't money come before you have the time to do all of this?
You see, and I love that question. I used to think it was that, but it isn't. When you read, you're heavily read, you realize that a lot of the successful people or the books that have been read on philosophy, wisdom, and all of that, they don't talk about money.
No, they don't.
They talk about a good life, good health. That's the foundation. Today, I rarely spend money. Not because I have a lot of money, I don't. But right now, the things that matter to me are free.
Okay.
You see? But you think money, because Charlie, if you be chilling, you want to go and drink, expensive.
Okay.
You want to flex, so you go and buy a Range Rover that you can't afford. You want to have a house in all the things in it you can't. So you put all of this pressure on you, and you think that it's money. But the things that give you joy and the things that really matter are primarily free. Why did God give us nature? The valleys, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, and all of those is why. Why? And it's therapeutic. Let me give you a statistic. If you walk in nature 30 minutes, 3 times a week, it can increase your lifespan from 5 to 20 years. So we have University of Ghana here, beautiful campus with all the trees. Yeah, just even if you drive through it, you don't even walk. 30 minutes, 3 times a week, your life improves. The quality of your life improves.
Amazing.
Yes.
We have just a minute to go. I'm just blown away by this conversation. Unleashing your potential, crafting an extraordinary life. This one is the clearest definition of an extraordinary life. The life out of our ordinary life. He's a mental catalyst and entrepreneur. Michael Amankwa is his name, and he's done 2 of the mountains already. 5 more to go. Okay, Vincent Massive.
Yes, Vincent Massive.
Vincent Massive. That's the Antarctica one. He's going to do Vincent Massive too. He will do Everest too. How many Black Africans have done Everest?
It's very few.
Wow.
Very few. The last Kenyan who went died.
It doesn't scare you? Oh, action defeats fear.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm aware of death.
Okay.
You have a sense of fear given the risk when you process it. And that's where the boys are separated from the men.
Okay.
You're like, okay, yes, I'm scared. But you know what? I can intelligently figure a way around it. But let me try. Because you never know how far you can go until you try anything. A lot of times we think, we can't, so we stop. Right? We stop. But the only way you can know is when you try. So I know that I can die when I do, any of these mountains. I mean, it's there. The success rates are not high, apart from the small ones that you start. But when you're going to the bigger one, Denali and Aconcagua and Everest and all of that, Everest, you have to be there on there 3 months. 3 months on the mountain. And you're talking about altitude sickness, you're talking about avalanches, you're talking about rock falls, you're talking about so many different things that can go wrong. You understand? But when you are a person of faith, that's why your spirituality, you can't joke with it. Your physical health, you can't joke with it. Your mind. So all your faculties, all of those 4, according to the 4 pillars, they all have to be on point. Now, let me leave this one with you. You take a car. I'm sure you have a car. Your car has probably 4 tires. One represents your physical health. One represents your mental health. One represents your emotions. And the other one represents your spirituality. If your car tire, one is deflated, flat, puncture, it can't move. The car cannot really move well. Or even move, whatever. Yeah. So imagine the 4. Today, a lot of us are living our lives where all our 4 ties are what? Deflated.
We're going nowhere.
We are going nowhere. But you're alive, but you're not going anywhere. You see how it works? You're not going anywhere. But imagine where your ties are fully pumped to the manufacturer's recommended PSI level. Charlie, where can't you go?
Where can't you go?
Where can't you go? So the choice is yours. The choice, it doesn't matter your background, your history, where you come from, whether you've been poor, you were brought up in a village and all of those. It doesn't. It's about the line you draw now, and it's about how you move forward.
Mr. Michael Amankwa, this conversation would have to go on and on and on and on. It's been amazing having you on Personal Development Mondays right here on Zed in the morning. We wish you the very best. ZFM will support you anyway, anyhow that we can. We will do that. Thank you so much. Listeners, it's just 3 minutes to 9, and all too soon, the day's work is done. We're signing out of here. My name is Jerry Halm. Coming up is the news, and then after the news is NYA.